welcome back. I've got a lot of books here today, but we're going to be talking particularly about this book. But I wanted to show you all of these books because I was looking through my selection of self-help, self-improvement books, and I was looking for this book, Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. I was looking for this book, and I came across the selection of books I bought very early in my career, very early in my life. I think you probably all know Dale Carnegie. I got also Don't Say Yes When You Want to Say No, The Secret Language of Success, and Tom Hopkins, How to Master the Art of Selling. So honestly, these are books that I probably bought in the 1990s, in the very early 1990s, 1990, 1991. And these were the books that sort of began or started me on the journey of self-improvement and becoming a better version of me. I didn't know it was going to be a lifelong journey back in those days, but it has been a lifelong journey, and it's a journey I'm still on. And The Power of Positive Thinking. This is a very interesting book. There's a lot of this guy has quite a lot of history, which, even though this book was originally written, I think, in the 1950s, I bought the 1990 or 1991 reprint of this book. Norman Vincent Peale, he still has a lot of history, and even though he is no longer with us, his legacy lives on today in the United States of America, in the White House. And I'll explain more about that later. But The Power of Positive Thinking. This was a seminal book at its time. This book sort of made people think. It was The Power of Positive Thinking. Made people change how they think about things. And made people, for the first time, realize that positive mindsets and positive thinking can change the outcome. If you think you're going to fail, or if you think this is hard, you will fail, and it is hard. But if you change the way you think about something, then you can actually change the outcomes. The Power of Positive Thinking started a revolution in the United States of America and throughout the rest of the English-speaking world. I am pretty sure this book was translated and published in most of the languages as well. Over 15 million copies of this book were sold. That was when I bought this one in 1990, 1991. So I imagine a few more million copies have been sold ever since. It says on the back of this book could change your life. And it's true. I mean, I don't know. When I was at school, secondary school, in the sort of, the 80s and things like that, no one taught you, or no one spoke about the power of your mind, the power of thinking that you can do things. So this was, for me, this was revolutionary at the time. All of these books were revolutionary. The first book in this era of sort of, self-improvement that I bought was Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was a revolution for me. These are revolutionary books for young people. For me now, it's kind of common sense in a way. Most of it's common sense, but for young people, this stuff still is revolutionary, I think. And thinking positively, having a positive mindset, is one of the most powerful tools that you have in your armory. Yeah, it's something that I have. I know it's difficult to always be positive. Of course it is. You cannot always be positive, especially when the worst things in the world are happening around you. But in your working lives, in your daily lives, if we can inject just a little bit more positivity, I think we can improve our lives and our outcomes by, let's say, 1%. And all you need is a 1% improvement to make your entire life better on a regular basis. Now, I mentioned in my introduction how this book, how Norman Vincent Peale is still relevant today, and his connections go all the way to the White House and the current president of the United States of America. That's right, Donald Trump. Donald Trump's family, Donald Trump's father, was a very good friend of Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote this book. So as friends, as families, they spent a lot of time together. They were very close as a family, and Donald Trump grew up in a house where Norman Vincent Peale, he was almost like Uncle Norman to Donald Trump. And Uncle Norman influenced Donald Trump's thinking in a lot of ways. And you can see this, I think, today when you watch Donald Trump. Donald Trump is always very, very, very positive person. He's always very, very positive about himself. He always thinks, I mean, we all know from experience that Donald Trump thinks he is great. And he doesn't just say it, he truly believes it. And I think he was, I'm going to use the word indoctrinated. That's not a good word to use, by Uncle Norman. In the good old days, back when Donald was a kid. Yeah. Uncle Norman taught Donald Trump how to be positive, how to think positively. And it has rubbed off on him. You can tell he oozes self-belief and positive thinking about himself. He believes that he is the greatest person in the world. He truly believes he is the only person who can save America and make America great again. He truly believes that. And look at where it has taken him. It has taken him to the White House for the second time. That is the power of belief for you. The power of really believing in yourself and thinking you can do it. Saying to yourself, yes, I can do it. Rather than, oh, maybe not. Yeah. Okay. So, the power of positive thinking. Please don't become Donald Trump. You do not need to become Donald Trump to make use of positive thinking. But even if you take what Donald Trump has, Donald Trump has positive thinking on acid, I think. If you could just sort of take a small portion of that and introduce it into your daily life, into your everyday life, your working life, your personal life, your everyday interactions, bring more positivity. You are going to enlighten your life, and trust me, if you are more positive about things, everyone around you is gonna be delighted. Yeah, you can be the person that brings positivity to a team that needs a little bit of an uplift. Okay, that's my big takeaway from the power of positive thinking.